Welcome, welcome, come on in. My name is Alicyn Packard, and this is Alicyn's Wonderland, the show that takes you on a journey down the rabbit hole and through the looking glass into the wild and wonderful world of animation and video games. Yes! Happy Wonderland Wednesday, everybody. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Go ahead and type one word in and let me know how all of you guys are feeling tonight. Hey, Sebastian. What's up, Pretender Kitty? Brand new face. Chris. Angela. Hey, Tamir. I'm always wondering if I'm pronouncing your name right. Genesis, thank you for joining. How are you guys feeling tonight? Jonathan, good to see your face. Hey, Angela. Hey, Jeffrey, good to see you. Hunter, you made it. I'm glad there wasn't a lightning storm that took you out of commission. It's so good to see everybody tuning in tonight. We're really excited because tonight we have award-winning voice actress Jennifer Hale, prolific video game and animation voice actress. In fact, she's the Guinness Book of World Records holder for most female voices in a video game. Like, what? That's kind of crazy. I used to read the Guinness Book of World Records for fun as a kid, and I don't remember seeing that, but I remember seeing some other weird stuff. So what an honor and privilege it is for us to have her on the show tonight. We're going to talk all about her career, and we're also going to chat about her brand new endeavor, which is SkillsHub.Life. And it's a website that I've been using, find it super helpful. It basically connects voice actors and coaches for one-on-one on-demand coaching. So if you have like a last minute audition that comes through and you need some coaching, or you just want to brush up on some skills, it's really great for that. So I reached out to Jennifer to see if she would come on the show. She graciously accepted. So I'm so excited to bring her on. Hey, Jen, I'm going to go ahead and invite you right now. Let's see. Here we go. On the stream, I just want to remind everybody that there's a box on the bottom with a little question mark. If you have questions, go ahead and type them in there, and I will do my best to get to them.
Hey, yeah. It took me a couple
Wednesday.
minutes to find the button to join. I was like, I've never joined before. How do I do that?
Yeah. There's either I can invite you or you can ask to be on, but either way works great. So
Yeah. Thank you so much for your kind words. It's lovely.
You're so welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's so glad to have you.
You're
definitely a big inspiration for me, not just in your career, but I feel like you're like my soul sister, because we both love being outdoors in nature. And I think it feels like you're really aligned in a spiritual path and sharing your wisdom with others. And I so appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, you know, if other people can benefit from my road rash and save the money that I've spent on fixing it, sweet.
Yeah, baby, get it in there. Real dirty, lots of scars, but that's what life's about, right?
Exactly.
Yay. Well, so I mean, so many questions. I mean, there's so many different avenues. I'm curious about your career. I definitely want to talk about Skills Hub and just some personal stuff as well, like life lessons and things. I'm just curious, so what is your average day like these days? I mean, you're a voice actress, but you're also a musician, an entrepreneur. How do you manage your time? How do you get it all in?
I'm trying to figure that out. It's a lot of brush fire existence. I mean, today we're looking for a social media manager for Skills Hub. And until we find one, I do a lot of it. There's a couple other people helping, but it was a lot of that. There's a lot of slogging through things I don't know how to do, Canva and all these apps and stuff, and figuring it out. So it took me the whole day to accomplish about 4 tasks, and you just have to accept it. But I get up and, my first priority in the morning, actually my very first priority before I even open my eyes is, where's my head today? And I check in, and then I tell it where it's going to be today. I check in to honor where I'm at. And then I go, okay, so this is my focus today. Like, I've been sending my kid off to school lately with this. He's in middle school. He just started middle school.
Aww.
And I've been sending him off. Yeah. Oh, God. Being a parent, man. It's, it's a thing.
Totally.
I love it so much. And the sighs are because it's going so fast. It's just flying by. I'm like, no. I want to go back and do it some more. But
totally. And you're mother of one?
I am. Yeah.
One son?
Yeah, I've known since I was 9. I was going to have one and he was going to be a boy and I was going to be a single parent. I have no idea. Maybe time is not sequential. Maybe it's parallel and that's how I know that. I don't know. Maybe the flash was right. I don't know. But
Yeah.
so I sent him off to school with one sentence, which, after I love you and bye and, be smart, all that, it is look for the good stuff. Look for the good stuff. And that's, phrases like that, or if I wake up just feeling completely like, ooh, I'm not on my game today, then my saying for the day is, okay, slow down. Don't push it. If you're not there, you're not there. It'll all line up when it lines up. So anyway, so that's how the day starts. And then I do a lot of intermittent fasting. So I make breakfast for my kid and I drink a lot of water. And then I'm working out. I'm experimenting right now with different times when I work out. I'm doing strength training now 4 days a week. And I take my dog for a walk, a nice long walk, because she's a big girl and she will get quite bouncy and she gets pissed off. She's like, excuse me, I think you forgot something if we don't do a long walk.
Me.
Oh yeah, she's big girl. She's a big girl. She's a Shepherd Pyrenees mix and she's massive. And then I just come back and start digging in auditions. It's really the hardest part is executive function. It's organizing all the stuff that comes at us, because in this freelance career, for anybody who's freelance or is an actor, and your scheduling is very reactive. You tend to, for myself, my entire career, and I've been freelance since I was a teenager, full time since I was 20, supporting myself the whole time, which is cool and overwhelming sometimes. So I've been trained to be reactive and light on my feet. Like, oh, you need me now? Great, drop everything. You need this? Great, drop everything. Because that's the myth of freelance, right? Is that you get to do whatever you want on your own time. No, you come whenever they call. And so that's actually the one thing with Skills Hub that I, because the way this whole thing happened is I just had this idea a couple of years ago. I get tired, remember we used to audition and we'd go places and they would tell us and they would coach us and direct us, right?
I miss that.
And yeah, now you get stuff at home and I'm in this box that I built. I love my beautiful box I've built, but I'm like, there's no one in here to say, yay, or, there's like nobody to weigh in. And so
except for all the various voices in your head, and you can't always trust them.
Oh, they're a nasty little committee that requires a lot of discipline. We'll talk about that. But I remember I was just like, God, because I've paid for private coaching. I'm like, I don't need an hour with somebody. I just need 10 minutes. And I was like, what if there was a place? And I met this developer a year ago to barbecue at my sister's, and he was like, I like this. And Bill made it happen. It's extraordinary. And my sister's like, I'll organize. I'm like, please be my executive function. And so she does that in her spare time. And so now that I'm running that, like, I can't be reactive in my schedule anymore. I have to be proactive. I have to make it happen. I mean, I have partners there and stuff, but it's a completely different approach. And I'm, us, we're hired guns. We come in, we get it done, we check it off our list, and whoo, we're out. It's done. It's off my list. This is like, it's like now it lives in my house. It's never off my list. When you start the project, you're like, oh, it's always going to be here. And
that is how I feel about this podcast.
Yes, exactly.
But 15 things I could do.
Yeah. What you're doing here, it's the same thing as what we're doing at Skills Hub. Is you're serving people, you're giving to people, you're helping and supporting people to expand their world. And that's huge. It's so valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. The reward is worth the effort, but I agree that when you take on a project that is sort of in the developmental phase, you don't even know what the to-do list is. There's your to-do list that and then there's that whole to-do list that you don't even know yet, and you're still working on your team and your systems, and those maybe are not our strong suits.
Oh my God.
Management.
Yeah. And I launched 2 things at the same time. I launched 2 things in June. I also launched a Patreon community.
Oh,
and that's
yes.
That's a whole, I'm like, oh my God. I was thinking had, those 4 a.m. things. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's next. And then it's making that happen.
The 4 a.m. things?
Oh, the things that come to you at 4 a.m. You're like half asleep and you're like, oh, yes, that's the answer. And you hope you remember it the next day. Yeah, the unconscious is an extraordinary powerhouse of beautiful things. Yeah.
Yes. Do a lot of dream work?
I do some. I love my dream time's very, very specific. I am
Mhm.
blessed to be connected to a I'm not going to get into that. Very wise person who's intensely spiritual, and you will never find in the phone book or any other, or online anywhere. And they work in the dream space. And in my dream time, I surrender and I have no agenda. My dream
Mm.
time is all about, let me know what I need to know. In fact, the other day, I had one of those dreams where something was happening, some significant apocalyptic thing was happening. And this has been my dream theme my whole life. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got to get busy because I know what to do. And I get out there and I start putting all these systems into place that I know are really, really important for what's coming. And nobody knows I'm doing it. Then it's okay. They don't need to know. But I know those systems. It's like a sorting thing. Like everybody's going into their sorting spaces where they need to go, and it's
yeah.
happening seamlessly. And I'm behind the scenes, and it all gets handled. And people are going to be okay because those systems got put into place because they did it. And then I woke up, and I was like, oh, well, that felt very powerful and useful and kind of exhausting. And my next thought was, where is the fun in any of this? And I was like, oh, that's my message from Dreamtime. Not to
Aw.
sort people for the apocalypse, but let's find some fun.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Even if the world is burning, we still need to be able to get through, get through it.
Yeah, we do. What do you do for fun?
I love to go camping.
Mm.
Um,
Yes, we are
and
soul sisters.
yeah, yeah, my family and I have a little travel trailer, so we take it out as many weekends as we can.
Which one do you
And
have? I've been looking at those.
we could go on extensively. We have a casita. It's a 17-foot travel trailer. It's tiny. It's 2,500 pounds, and you can tow it
Oh.
with a small SUV. They're
Yeah,
really great.
I have a Forerunner because I love cars
Oh,
because I
so
don't
you could
mind
go bigger
if they get
even.
banged up. Yeah, but one of my neighbor kids had to get cut out of the roof rack of my Forerunner.
What? Okay, we kind of need to hear that story. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Just diverge for a second.
I've moved to an island up, off the Canadian coast, and I I have this roof rack on my Forerunner that's this awesome like grid like this, and then it
Yeah.
has these rectangles at strategic points along the sides that you can rig stuff to. Like I throw my paddleboard up there, I can throw bags up there, I can throw tool, containers up there, whatever. And there's a ladder on the back of my truck, and my yard is my house is the house where the kids come and hang out and like trash my front yard because it's just full of like wood ramp things and pieces of lumber and God knows what. Like the trash pit front yard that they make stuff out of. And I've never cleaned it because I never want to lose that. And they come on my record like this, and I put a little pool in, like this is the trampoline, like this is the house, come and do the mayhem here, right? And so they're playing Nerf wars or something outside, and I guess somebody must have shot a Nerf bullet up onto that landed on the roof of my car. And my car has a ladder on the back, and I was busy like I redid this house top to bottom,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
meeting with the kitchen guy for the first time, and we're down there looking at the kitchen and figuring out what to do. And then Shank was like, "Mom, Will's stuck on the car," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I come out, and he has reached through this little. At the time, I think he was 5, had reached through maybe 6, but one of those things on the side of the car that was about this big had stuck his arm through it to get the
Oh, no.
Nerf bullet. Instead of reaching around the side of the roof rack and getting it, he
Oh,
reached
no.
through the hole and he got stuck. And we tried soap, and we're all supposed to be masked. This was in the middle of the early pandemic times. And
Yeah.
I mean, I tried oil, I tried soap, I tried ice, I tried stern comments, I tried gentle comments, I tried everything, and it was not happening. And so they finally called the fire department, and they came to my house.
Meanwhile, it was the most exciting thing the fire department had done all day.
Oh my God, they took a grinder and cut him out of my roof rack. Yeah, welcome to the neighborhood. Hey, I'm that house. How's it going?
You need a sign. Proceed at your own risk.
Right? Actually, I think I'll just say, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know you had, so you're living outside Canada now? You're living in
I
Canada?
am in Canada. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I was born in Canada. I was born in
Yeah.
Labrador, and I am a Nunavut, Southern Labrador Inuit. I am First Nations roots,
Nice.
And my mom actually kidnapped me back to the U.S. when I was just almost 2. And I grew up in the U.S. And then I found my father when I was 19. And we connected very well. I had a second dad, who I didn't realize was my second, you know what I mean. Anyway, my
Wow.
mom was married a
Yeah.
lot. And
Yeah.
we were very, very alike. We were extremely alike. He
You
transitioned
and your
out
birth father.
yeah, he
Okay.
transitioned out about 16 months ago. And but I was so happy to have the time I had. And I recovered a bunch of family from finding him. And then I stayed in the States, stayed in LA working. And then I had planned to kind of head up to here to this zone because my sister's really lives in this area. And I wanted my kid to do middle school kind of in a place where he could be outside and run around and
Yeah.
just have one of those, I'll be in the range I'm allowed to go kind of childhoods.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what's happening right now. And but it happened, it wasn't going to be as early as it happened. It was going to be a little later. And then March 16th, I was sitting at my kitchen counter, and I live by my intuition.
Yeah.
And my intuition had been tapping me on the shoulder for a couple of years going, go home, meaning Canada. And I was like, yeah, not right now. And then in February, it started going, go, go, go. And I was like, I'm working on it. I don't know. It's going to, and then March 16th, it was like, go now. And I was like, okay. And I bought tickets. I was like, we'll just go visit my sister for a few weeks because apparently school is closed for a couple of weeks. Okay. And that was that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is I bought the ticket on Monday for a Thursday departure. And I was kind of like, friends of mine were going to rent my house, like like, I love the whole community living thing, and their rent was up. And I was like, man, I love you guys. We'll figure it out. Just come stay at the house and we'll work it out. I'll probably be going this summer, and I'll start kind of packing up my house a little bit, make room. And on Monday I was like, all right, I'm going to pack up a little more because the feeling I'm having is pretty intense. So I started packing my house. And then Wednesday, the government closed, that was 2 days later, the government closed the border to all but Canadian citizens, the Canadian government. And I was like, okay, so it's tomorrow. 8:30 flight international. Okay. So
maybe we won't be able to come back.
Yeah, I kicked it into high gear, got some help with everything, and just was like, okay, here we go. And it's crazy because sorting out your legal and your banking and, all the stuff you got to sort out, in a day was the thing. Yeah. But we made the flight. Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. One of the cool parts was the way my mom kidnapped me was not so good. It was not necessary. And
were you aware at the time that
I was
it
not
was
even 2? I was not even 2.
Mm-hmm.
And my father basically just came to visit me and came to visit me and came to visit me, and then I was gone. And he couldn't find me. And so the first thing I did when I got back across the border was call my father and tell him I'm back.
Oh.
So that was cool. That was really cool. Yeah.
And so you said he just passed 16 months
He
ago?
had a stroke 10 days after I got over the border.
Oh my
gosh.
He
was in Labrador. He was across the continent in Labrador. I'm in the west side of Canada. He's on the east side. So and then I was still in quarantine when he had a big stroke. And so I couldn't, even if I had flown to where he was, I would have had to quarantine again.
Yeah.
And so if he was going to transition, it didn't make any sense. So I stayed here, and we walked him through virtually. And it was interesting because at the time, there's so many people who haven't even had that level of privilege. I had that level of privilege because he had his stroke. He's an amazing man. He was in that hospital, and he was completely there. He didn't lose any of his mental facilities. He just couldn't form most words, and he couldn't stand up. And he was an activist, and he made his whole life doing, manual labor jobs. That's what he did. Drove a truck, moved flour, through heavy things of flour, like snowplow, working. He worked. And he was also a tribal elder. And most importantly, he was a phenomenally powerful, internally activist for First Nations and for land rights and for water rights, especially in Labrador. He did the greatest thing. Labrador technically falls under the Newfoundland government, but it's the big land part. Newfoundland's the island part up here. And there were no Labrador flags that flew at the border with Quebec. So my father, they kept asking and they're like, no, kept asking. They went, no. So my father took a big long tree, sanded it down to a pole, loaded his truck up with Quickcrete, drove to the border, which was several hours. I don't even know how long it was. Dug a hole, stuck it in there, put the concrete in, put the flag up, and left. And the government never took it down. So they put one up on the other side. When he died, you know, this just normal guy who was a wonderful activist, the flags across Labrador were at half-mast. So across in government places and a lot of places. It was great. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome.
And do you feel that some of that spirit is distilled in you as well?
Oh, I come by it honestly. Oh yeah, I am definitely a poop stirrer. That is what I do. You know, my career is sort of a delivery system for whatever divine inspiration comes through and for breaking down barriers. That's really what I do. That's what I do. That's actually what Skills Hub is about. It's about breaking down barriers to entry. We have a crazy number of people who've never done voice acting before who just want to try it or just want to up their D&D game, and or people who live in like,
D&D game, did you say?
Yeah, we have a coach who coaches people on their D&D stuff. It's crazy. Charles Ross, he's amazing. Nice. Yeah. So, yeah, like we've got people, I want people in all parts of the planet to be able to participate in the game. And, you know, we've got this thing that we've opened up called the Opportunity Board, where like, if you're just making fan fiction, or if you're making a game out of your basement, or an animated thing out of the corner of your kitchen, and you have, you know, $50 to pay somebody or nothing to pay anybody, and you need actors, we've got a free place for you to post. It's called the Opportunity Board. It doesn't cost creators a thing, and creators don't have to be members. Actors are members because of all the other benefits and the coaching. And I just found out actors pay a piece of their salary when they book these jobs on some of these sites. Like if you're a non, you know, in the non-union world, and a site posts a job, you give them a percentage of your job pay. And I was like, what?
Like an agent? So they're like acting as an agent?
It's not even an agent. It's like a fee. It's like, you know, if it's on Fiverr, you pay a X percentage of your earnings to Fiverr. And like, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. So
that's
yeah.
great.
Anyway, so breaking down barriers. Yes, I do have pieces of my dad for sure. Just ask my sister.
Yeah. So how is it working with your sister? That must be a fun experience.
It's awesome.
What do I know?
No, she's my sister is a phenomenal human being. My sister is just, no, she really is. Like, it's not like, oh, I'll speak well of her. No, she's an awesome human being. I didn't know her. I didn't grow up with her because my mom I didn't know she existed. I didn't know any of them existed. But they always knew I existed, which was kind of a really beautiful thing. She was the keeper of my history. She gave me back my history. I'll get all choked up about it, but so it's amazing. I trust her. I trust her completely. I trust her completely. Yeah.
When did you reunite?
When I met my father, she was away that summer, but the following summer, I think I was 20 and she was 18. We both met in Labrador, and she's got this beautiful, just still point inside, and I'm like pew 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 pew, and she's just still, you know, she sees everything. And she would sit with my grandma, and she gathered all the facts. And so because she could sit and listen and pick up details and just wait, she had the whole story, and she over time just gave it to me in pieces. It was beautiful. Yeah, because my mom created a lot of fiction, so she helped me straighten out the fiction. Yeah.
Wow. And so now you guys are working on this endeavor. You just launched Skills Hub just a couple months ago, really?
Yeah,
really,
June 25th.
I remember seeing it on your Instagram being like, because at that time I was like, there needs to be like, we need more community in the voiceover industry, because we don't have that like we used to. We're not going into a casting agency. We're not even going into our agencies. And I very much miss that. And I thought, oh my God, this is such a brilliant idea. I signed up right away, and I've been doing some coaching, and
that's
so it's just, it's great. The on-demand aspect is what I really like, because sometimes, you know, you might start working on something and you're like, oh yeah, you know what, I need a second ear on this, or I'm just not quite sure, am I hitting it or not? And then, you know, to bring someone in for 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes to say like, you got it, but here's the beat you need to tweak, or like, you know what, you need to start over, this character's not working. It's really great. And I know that you have been seeking to build community, and so I was wondering, what are your hopes for the future in terms of that?
We have a forum that is incredible, and people are starting to weigh in the forum, and I'm hoping to see the forum build. I'm hoping to see these workout rooms with Jeff Burns, who I think is here.
Yeah, he's a
great idea. Yeah, we used to do workshops, right? And we'd get inspired and we'd create a workout group. And we'd meet once a week and work out and pay the engineer. And this is a virtual version of the same, where people can get together. Like, I think we've got people in the rooms who are like just going to do readings from a script. And JD, this guy JD, who's organized it, is one of our members, is going to just hand out roles. And it's just a great place to practice it. They could also just be cocktail hours. You could just meet to talk about like, okay, I don't know what to do now, or, oh my God, I did this thing and I just wanted to tell somebody. You know, community gatherings, they're gathering rooms. They hold up to 10 people right now. And this is the beautiful thing about the site. Like, almost everything on this site came from the 50 plus beta tests that we did one-on-one with coaches, actors in levels 1, 2, and 3, which is the beginners, middle, and you know, advanced actors. People who come in and just beta tested with us. And so if there's something that people discover that they need, let us know. We will create it. You know, maybe we'll create hangout rooms and people can meet and chat and stuff, you know, like whatever you guys need. Just let us know.
There used to be like a business group that I was a member of that Lauren Kling started many years ago. That was a fun little way for people to check in with each other every month.
Yeah.
Just give each other support. How did you come up with the name SkillsHub.Life?
We came up with Skills Hub because the skills is what you get out of the coaching, and the hub is what we get out of our community. The hub is our community, and the community is a huge piece of it. And then .com was taken, so we grabbed .life. And we actually, you know, Skills Hub is about connecting experts with people who need expertise in little bite-sized affordable bits that they can manage for their budget and their schedule, right?
Yeah.
That vertical, as we call it, the first vertical is acting. And the next one we're probably going to move to is devs. We're going to do the same thing, connecting people who know with people who need to know in a space for devs. We're just going to keep going. And so we picked Skills Hub because it's a name not specific to any industry, but it describes what we do. Yeah.
Very cool. So when you say dubs, do you mean ADR, dubbing for video
No, sorry, devs, developers, and content creators. Yeah. That's our next vertical.
So
because we already cover, I think we have, I don't know, over 25 different acting skills that we coach. You know, ADR and looping is one, and podcasting and performance capture and on camera and sitcom and like all these different aspects that we cover. Now we have, I think, 54 coaches, maybe 55. We're adding every week. We have to, you know, catch up.
Yeah. And how does one sign up for Skills Hub?
You just go to acting.skillshub.life and you find the site there. I think we have a 7-day free trial. We have been in beta. You are the first to know. You have an exclusive. We are out of beta now. We are full version. We are full live. Fully opened. Yes.
Come on in.
So excited. Yeah, I'm really, really excited. And so we are fully live now. And it's just,
very cool.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Aw, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's so
hit that forum because community is super important, and ask us for what you need. Just email support@SkillsHub.Life. Let us know what you want on the site. We'll make it happen.
And then so the groups that are in there, those are from anyone that is a member of Skills Hub can just join or create their own. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have to do a Wonderland thing sometime, like a workout group or
Yes.
something.
I love that.
That'd be
Yes.
very cool. A lot of people come on here and they have a lot of questions about breaking into voice acting. And because
Yeah.
this is a forum that also we talk about people's careers, we talk about personal and really kind of dive into this world. There's not a ton of time for just advice and that sort of thing, but we could maybe do a subset for those that are specifically looking to break into voiceover. So
Yeah. Hit
maybe
me with
20.
questions. I'm here. Yeah.
So I'm curious, we've talked a little bit about your Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.
Depends on where you're from, how you want to say this.
You
Yeah.
pay. I was calling it Patron for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll take my
I was like, oh
Patron.
yeah, she's got Patron. You know.
Not this month. I'm in my 1 month a year cleanse, but after this.
Oh. So can you tell us a little bit about what kind of things you're sharing on that platform?
Yeah, Patreon is my personal mission. It's it has 3 pillars. It's called The Haven. It's just patreon.com/Jennifer Hale. We call it The Haven. And the 3 pillars of my Patreon, basically it happened because I haven't had the easiest road on the planet in this life. And I've invested a lot of time, money, and energy into healing and clearing out. And I've learned a lot on the way, And some of it was expensive and painful. And so if I can share any of my road rash with people, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a financial expert, but money is something we focus on a decent amount. I'm getting ready to jump into a money program in there, to create a structure for people to start talking about that. So we have 3 pillars. One is, let's reconnect you to your gut, your intuition, your instincts. Let's reconnect you to that. Second thing is, let's get you what you want. Do you even remember what that is? And are you wanting what you want, or are you wanting what you think you should want? And the third thing is, we are the ones we've been waiting for. The current system works so beautifully for the corporations that have overtaken the planet like a bad virus. And they're not going to change it because it works for them. But I don't know that it's working for us, individuals. And nobody's coming to do it for us. So let's link arms and let's rise up together. That's what it's for.
And don't you think that COVID and sort of the changes that have come about from the pandemic have shifted globally the way we approach sort of our goals and the way we're structuring our life? Do you see this as kind of being a good jumping off point for transformation?
I think so. I really do. COVID has been a really interesting thing. And we all are pretty clear about the pain points of COVID, right? We know those really well. I think there are also blessings of COVID. We don't gather at malls anymore. We go outside. We don't focus constantly on, have I achieved enough? Am I ahead enough? Am I good enough? Right now, we've been intensely focusing on, is everyone okay? And I don't think that's a bad thing. We've been deeply forced to reconnect to community and self-care. It's kind of sink or swim, right? With that. Look, for a long time, these corporations, these Lex Luthors, etc., have been really putting the planet through some pretty bad stuff and doing it in the name of profit. And it's a form of capitalism that is not sustainable at all in any way, shape, or form, not for humans, not for the planet, not for any of it. And the planet would push back and the corporations would just send a bigger bulldozer. And this time the planet sent her smallest soldier and went, sit down, so I hope we remember, Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I hear you. Speaking of corporations, Do you do commercial VO? How does that sit with your, philosophies on life? How do you feel about auditioning for projects that maybe aren't in alignment?
Yeah.
I'm curious about how you approach that at this
It's
stage
an
in your life. And maybe it was different 20
yeah,
years ago. Maybe it was
it
different
was way
5 years.
different. It
Hmm.
was way different. It's such a great question, Alicyn. I started my career in Birmingham, Alabama, where there were 5 ad agencies doing nothing but syndicated small market car commercials. And what that means is they would go around the country and sell their advertising package to a bunch of different car dealerships. And it was the same commercial. They just take out one dealership's name and put in another one. This one goes to Gulfport. This one goes to Shreveport. This one goes to, Arab. This one goes to Reform, like whatever the towns were. And I got really, really good at doing those. I did so many of those. That's how I started. I was, I think, still in high school when I did my first, VO. And maybe, yeah, just barely in the university. I have no idea. Um, and I got really good at that, and I worked really hard at it. And then I went to Atlanta. I worked both cities, Birmingham and Atlanta, to expand that. And that's how I get my first film audition, which is what got me out to LA. And when I came out to LA, my intention was to do, and I was there to do film and TV stuff. That's why I left where I was, because I had a killer career where I was. And, like a lot of us, I booked a few things, but it wasn't enough to pay the bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I made a VO tape just to make some money, and that tape was commercials. I had never done any animation. And my first audition in LA was for a cartoon series. And I booked it, and it was a series. And I was like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. So I jumped into class. So training has always been my ally. So yeah, and I pursued commercials hard. I did tons and tons and tons of them. There was a point in the early 2000s where I couldn't turn on the TV or radio without hearing myself. I was Gateway Computer spokesperson for over 10 years. If anybody remembers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And Ted is so great. The owner of the company, I used to get flown to do their Christmas parties and hang out with him. And he's a riot, such a riot. And I did tons of them. And I definitely had an evolution. In 1995, I wasn't feeling fabulous, mood-wise, emotionally. And so one of my mentors had the wisdom to send me to this woman in Santa Barbara who did kind of more alternative, at that time was really alternative. Now it's called functional medicine, healing. And she had me give up sugar, dairy, and caffeine. And I was drinking green juice and taking probiotics in 1995. And everybody thought I was nuts. And it helped, right? And I've just started, really understanding what big food does to us and how it messes with us. And then I started really jumping into money and educating myself around money. And because I think in these sort of 50 and 70-year timelines, and I'm like, there's stuff I want to do in my life and I need to work less and go do that stuff. I mean, I did a volunteer vacation in Thailand in 2006 and just fell in love with that kind of a connection, and that kind of living and giving back. Or I hate that phrase because that kind of community combination with, people from different socioeconomic groups coming together to better everyone. Yeah. That's really the more accurate description, because I got a crap ton out of it when I went. And I thought, okay, I want more of this in my life, but I have bills, and now I bought a house and I redid the whole house. Okay, I need to concentrate on money. So the more I learned about money and food and health, the more I looked around and went, oh my God, McDonald's is not food. These health foods are not health foods. They're full of soybean, corn, all these oils that will kill you eventually over time. They're full of all these things that are slowly poisoning us and making us sick and sending us over to big pharma and big medicines for them to make their chunk of the money. And it's all being passed through lobbyists, and it's all being shoved under the rug by those lobbyists and those paid for and bought representatives. It makes me insane. So yeah, a thing has started to happen over the last few years. I remember going to an audition for a financial services company, and I'm like, they make their money on commissions. They do not care whether you're having a good investment or not. If you're lucky, you might get the one rep that really cares, but he's being duped by his employer. It's a whole racket. And I'm thinking to myself, I have no business auditioning for this. I'm not the one they want. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. So yeah, that's been my commercial evolution.
So you just straight up pass. You're like, this is not
I will
me.
straight up, I won't do McDonald's. I won't do pharmaceuticals. I won't do those. But I hesitate to say that because there are, I hope many, many people out there do, because it's for that. It's for anyone to come and audition. Listen, you build your career on anything you need to build it on. Build it. Do it. You take care of yourself. I'm not judging anyone who does that. I'm just sharing my particular journey because it was asked.
No, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think that the hard part is when you get to that point where you might be thinking, for whatever reason, X job or Y job or Z job doesn't resonate with you. How to then, there's this fear of disappointing your reps, or I don't know, to be like, okay, like for me, like actually I love a good Big Mac like once in a while. So like, I'm cool with McDonald's, but there are other things that maybe, you're not aligned with it, So I think it's very empowering for you to be able to say, not for me, and create room. Then we're creating space for the opportunities that are for us, right?
Amen. Absolutely. Yeah,
we are
so aligned, you and I. We are so aligned.
I'm writing a note to Jennifer Hale said, it's okay. Say no.
Listen,
like
and
you're saying
with
a bigger yes.
It comes down to one thing that I have that's been in my face ever since the beginning of the pandemic, which is
gorgeousness.
Caring for yourself so deeply that you stand for yourself more than anyone else in the world. Yeah. What matters to you most is what feels right for you. Not like you're going to go damage anybody else, but like, it's okay. You do you, and full respect to you, because I'm fully doing me. And I know there's room for all of us. And I'm not judging you. You can disagree with somebody without disliking them. Yeah.
And that's the uncomfortable place we're all in these days, I think.
Oh, yeah.
To a certain extent.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
It's very wise. You also had a money podcast. I know you mentioned that you're very active in financials. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that actually was born because I started reaching that point where I couldn't do certain things anymore because I knew I just didn't have the stomach for it. And I knew, and if you can't as an actor, if you can't believe in what you're saying, you're not going to book it. Don't waste their time. You know? So I thought, okay, I really love money and the study of money. I always have. There was this crazy board game that I bought that was stupid expensive. It was put out by Robert Kiyosaki's company. Wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, it was called Cash Flow. It was a board game. And I used to sit by myself playing this board game to sort of figure out how it all worked. I just loved it. And my second dad, who was the dad that I spent more time with growing, when I was younger, used to call me the little capitalist piglet. But the flavor of capitalism that I was, I would run the numbers at 10 years old about how much I could make if I spent this much money on macrame rope and this much money on beads and made like, plant holders, hangers and stuff, and what I could sell them for. And then I'd make them and then I'd just give them away. Like, oh no, just take it. Like, that's my form of capitalism. It's like, oh, I missed a step. Thank God I have business partners, right? But so at that point I realized that I loved real estate. Like, I had wasted money trying to learn how to do stock options to help my self-directed pension that I created, as we do as independently self-employed people, grow. And I was like, oh, wasted that stupid huge chunk of money because I hate stocks. It's just not my happy place. For people who it is, it's please do it, but it's not mine. Real estate's mine. So I jumped in and started learning about how to syndicate real estate investments and how to because money's all about velocity and education. And but I felt this weird hitch. I felt embarrassed. I thought, does this make me less of an artist and less of a performer? And I went, oh, no, thank you. No, time out. Time out. That is an old paradigm. It's been around a long time, a stupid old belief that needs to be kicked to the curb, which is if you're creative, you're not good with money. And if you're good with money, you're somehow less creative. And I was like, let's shatter that myth. Because what if we had a world where artists were financially empowered? What does that government look like? What does that decision-making power structure look like? What does that look like? And we're getting closer to it every day, which I love. And so then it got me thinking about money, and it's what we're about to take on in the Patreon sometime in the next few months, is this structure and these conversations. I look at money like a table. I frame it like a table. And this is what I did in the few episodes. The podcast was just me going to cons and setting up a mic and going, okay, who wants to sit in the hot seat and talk to me? You know? And people did. So, and it was just like, it was very cowboy and like, who cares? And, you know, I just did a few episodes, but it was really compelling to me. And because I've had the privilege of all the help that I have gotten for myself over the years. And it's given me a different perspective, you know, and I had hours and hours in the car in LA to listen to podcasts about this stuff and to inform myself. And so I look at money like a table, and the 4 legs are this. The first leg is knowledge, which we're not given on purpose. We talk about that. Once you get knowledge though, and start getting a little knowledge, then you make a plan. That's the next leg. And once you know your plan, then you know the habits you need. Habits are the 3rd leg. And then we get to the 4th leg, which is this super oversized, massive leg, which is being. And being is, you know, the beliefs you were raised with, the soup that you live in. I remember one of my early conversations with this guy was a guy who called in when I had like a call-in episode. And he was pissed off at all of his wealthy friends. And I said to him, that is blocking you, because your unconscious mind understands now that if you're wealthy, people don't like you because you're not liking wealthy people. It's unsafe, you know? Yeah. So that's being. And like, you know, who you can get too big for your britches, or we're not good with money, or rich people are selfish. Like there's the whole soup that we all
tall poppies. Nobody likes the tall poppy.
Right. You know? Exactly. And, you know, it's the stuff that we don't even know is running in the background, all that early subconscious programming, right? Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I know I have so many people chiming in and asking, when are you going to get to the audience questions?
Yes, it's here.
For anybody that's just tuning in and you might not know, this show is called Alicyn's Wonderland. We're a weekly IGTV show and podcast where we interview people that work in animation and video games to go through the looking glass and down the rabbit hole to discover what it's like behind the scenes. So I hope you guys tune in every week. I'm so happy that we have so many people that tune in every week. Hey guys, hey Luna, Hunter, Chris, don't worry, Celebrity Fan 01, we're gonna get to your question. Jeff, thank you guys so much for sticking around. Let's see, I cannot see who these are coming from. Okay, a lot of people are asking, I'm going to use this question to cover 3 questions about, can I DM Jennifer? Can I reach out on Twitter? What's the best way for fans to communicate with you? Is it Patreon? Patreon.
Patreon. Patreon is a good one. Patreon's a good one, actually. I do sit down there and answer questions, and we have a private Instagram that's private for the Patreon people, and I will directly interact there. The Streamily signings are for like signing and stuff. Man, it's hard because I'm so swamped right now. I would say just signings and the Patreon, and if you need some coaching, I'm in Skills Hub. Yeah. So.
But I follow you, and I haven't seen you. Haven't had a lot of time pop up recently.
No, I haven't, and I actually next week I will. I'm trying to get through some of this until we find a marketing person. I'm like, oh no, I have to learn a new job. But no, I will. I would love to coach with you. God, that would be so fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so that's a lot of good resources. This is kind of like asking you which your favorite child, but I know you only have one child, so it's an easier choice for us.
Yeah.
What's your favorite role you've ever played? Can you even answer that question?
I actually have an answer for that, and it's not a role. It's the sheer diversity of the roles I've been privileged to play. Everything from Princess Morbucks to Commander Shepard to Cinderella to Rivet in Ratchet and Clank to a driveling toddler in a new series I'm on. Like it's so fun. Yeah, I like the diversity.
Amazing. We got to act in a scene together in Ratchet and Clank. Chef Tulio and Rivet. I
Oh,
pulled a little clip from it somewhere. It was so
oh, I
cute.
would love that. Throw that up, will you? If you find it, throw it up on social media. I would love
Rivet's
to see that.
adorable.
Yeah.
Jeff says, let's do a duo session. Oh, let's see. So that I'm going to cover this one.
Are you working on something with a certain Japanese team right now and a director who might have also been involved with the project you just named?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
I don't
Just
think.
check.
I am working on something Japanese and something with a different team, but I think those are two different things.
Okay.
Let's see. Was playing Cinderella your favorite?
I love being Cinderella. I mean, that is such a privilege to step into Eileen Wood's shoes and carry that mantle. I think I stepped into that in 1995, and man, what a privilege! And also some super fun stuff like Wreck-It Ralph and all the toys and the theme parks. Like, it's awesome.
People were also asking, do you own the dress? Do you wish you owned the dress? Have you thought about getting the dress?
No, but there might have been a moment that might have happened, but is certainly never allowed to happen with Russi Taylor and I when she was still with us in Orlando, you know, looking somewhat like our characters, but that's all I'm allowed to say.
Internet, do your thing.
It's not on the internet. No. We made sure.
Somebody's asking, do you have a favorite moment from Spider-Man as the Black Cat / Alicia Hardy?
I do. I have a couple. I mean, just sitting in the lobby with like Ed Asner and Martin Landau and Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., these actors who were in like old Hollywood. I mean, not Ed. Ed was more recent, but and listening to them tell stories, that was amazing. And one time, our director was a character, man, Tony Pastor. He was a character. And Mark Hamill and I were doing a scene together, and we were standing side by side at our mics, and it was when Felicia and I think, was he Hobgoblin? They were like, you know, together for a little bit of it. And Tony made us do the scene holding hands the whole time.
Aww.
So funny.
How did that inform the scene?
It was great, actually. It was kind of cool. So I've held hands with Mark Hamill.
You know,
what's so great is like, I feel like the world is rediscovering him, and he's such an incredible actor and a wonderful, wonderful guy. Because I feel like in VA, he was ours for a couple decades before people were like rediscovered him and he became the thing again. I'm like, look, he's always been talented. You just like him because of Star Wars, but you don't even know his talent. It's huge. You know?
Yeah, here in the VO world, we know. We
do. We do. Yeah.
Let's see. Wow, so many great questions. What was your experience like being on Billy and Mandy?
Oh my God. It was awesome. It was so awesome because I played Gladys, Billy's mom, and she was nuts. There was this long stretch I had.
Can you do the voice for us?
Let's see.
Fangirl out.
Let's see. Cheese! There's no cheese! But there's tofu, and it looks like cheese! Billy! Oh my God, she was out of her mind. And Chris Zimmerman, who directed Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, she directed that as well. And her direction for me would be just, she's got no Prozac today. I'd be like, okay! It's just like out of your trippy mind. Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so this answers that question. This is a very open-ended question, but do you love being a voice actress? And I guess I want to tack onto that. If you weren't a voice actress, what would you be?
Oh my. I absolutely love being a voice actress. Mm-hmm. I've been gifted with this incredible career. Now listen, gifted in that I had an opportunity and then I worked my butt off for decades to make it count. But look, it's incredible. It's the things I've gotten to do, the barriers I've gotten to break down, the experiences I've gotten to be a part of are unbelievable. And let's see, if I wasn't doing that, I would be a singer. That is my first love. And someone who built and designed and built houses, redid houses, because that's another one of my addictions.
That's so cool. And you,
or disaster relief and rebuilding, like some combination of disaster relief and reconstruction. Yeah, in developing nations, not in areas where people don't have enough to make it work and need help. Yeah.
that's funny. At first glance, they seem so disparate, but actually they all have heart. They connect via the heart. You have 2 singles that you put out in 2020. Is that right?
Yes.
So yeah, are you currently how much are you a singer-songwriter? Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and if you have any new music coming out?
Yeah. I wrote my first song when I was 12 at camp, and then I started singing in clubs when I was 15. But I didn't have any confidence, and now finally that I'm getting some self-love and some, like, it doesn't matter if you have confidence. I care about myself, and I'm going to do it because I like it. I finally put out those 2 songs. I'd written one of them quite a while ago, Never. And then Sea of Stars, my first audiobook I did last summer. It was for Christopher Paolini's book, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which was 800 plus pages, 880 wow. plus pages, and 50-ish characters. So it was a deep dive. Yeah. And out of that, he heard Never, and he's like, hey, do you think you would want to write a song? So I grabbed Todd Herfindahl, who's a guy I know, and we came up with Sea of Stars, which is one of my favorite things I've ever written in my life. And I have more songs coming. It's just a matter of making it fit into the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't chosen to put that at the top of my schedule priority list because I have a responsibility to Skills Hub right now. So I'm choosing to do that right now.
I can completely relate. When you're a creative that has a lot of different interests and passions, they can't all be on the front burner at the same time. So there's seasons, I think.
Yeah.
Seasons to season the pots of creativity.
Exactly. Yeah.
I put out an album in 2019, I think.
Oh, did you? What's your genre? What's your vibe?
It's singer-songwriter, folky pop. But I have a handful of pop songs that I want to put out, and that requires collaboration, but it's something that is where my soul is at, and something that's super important to me. But then the pandemic hit, and it was like I didn't sing for over a year. I just didn't even open my mouth to sing, really. And so it's nice to be kind of feeling it out again.
I had singing sessions last week for a thing that will be released soon that I think people will be very happy about. But that's all I can say. And I was like, whoo, girlfriend is not in as good a shape as she would like today. But I mean, it all came out great. But I was like, whoo, I'm used to, like, boom, knocked it out. I was like, oh, I got to do a few approaches today. That's okay. But maybe you and I will collaborate on something at one point. It's
definitely a muscle.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Okay, got to get this muscle back in shape. Right. It's like the tiniest little muscle too. I don't even know how that works.
Yeah.
But awesome. Oh, so many. So I think we got through most of the questions. Yes. Chef Tuli and Rivet in the same room together. It's so cute. Let's see. I did. Okay. I guess I want to just leave with, I know we just have 2 minutes. I want to be super respectful of your time, but
if we go a little over, it's okay. I got a couple extra minutes. So.
Okay. All right, guys. So, for the next hour, no, just kidding. We'll just take a couple. I was curious to ask you if you have any incredibly embarrassing moments in the booth. Do you ever just let one rip and the mic's on, or I don't know?
When I was 17, I did. I didn't realize everyone could hear. I was like 17. I was like, oh my God, lesson learned. Let's see. I gave up the ability to be embarrassed a long time ago, mostly because you can't have that in this career. But I do remember I was at, I think it was at Warner Brothers one time doing, it was my first time I ever worked with Kari Walgren, and she just blew me away. It was, I forget what that series was that she was on. She was incredible. But I was guest recurring role on that thing as one of the villains. And I come in for my very first session and they did the whole scene with this kind of voice and eating up the scenery and doing it this way and jumping in fully. And they finished the run and Lisa Schaefer was directing. She goes, Jen, she goes, that's great. She goes, she's 16. I was like, oh, great, let's go again. I was like, okay, we'll do it in here now because that's where she belongs. And I was like, oh my God, why did no one tell me? It wasn't in the description.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And so I was curious, how do you balance your relationship with social media these days? I know that for a lot of voice actors, it's becoming more of a thing that we have to do. And how are you juggling your mental health and well-being with getting enough content out there and communicating with your fan base? Is that a struggle?
Yeah, I put my mental health first. And I may come up short on content, but I just don't keep an eye on it that way. It has to be organic for me. I crushed my phone accidentally in the back of my car. And the way I had to order one was
your
just
car is very deadly and dangerous.
My car does not mess around.
Eats children.
I found a deal on Cush. I'm redoing my entire deck. Like this whole house has been taken down to the studs and put back together because it was like it needed it. And my deck was literally falling apart. Like it's 22 by 20. It's a big deck. It's the whole top of the garage, basically.
Oh, wow.
And the railing was built in 1973 and was literally falling off the side of the deck into the yard. And I had a puppy running around and a bunch of kids. I was like, oh my God. So I'm redoing my deck. And I see that Lowe's has cushions, like those seating cushions for outdoor couches kind of thing.
Yeah.
On clearance. And those are bloody expensive. And I was like, I'm going to Lowe's. So I got all I needed. And I'm cramming these things in the back of my car and like strapping things on top of my car. And I barely get it in. And I shove my bag in the car, my little bag that has like my wallet and stuff in it and my phone, like shove it in the back of my car and slam the car shut. But it slid down right at the last moment. And my phone was what got crushed. So I was like, oh, well. And I had no phone for a couple weeks. So I really wasn't posting much during that couple weeks. I was like, I'll take it as a break.
That's what Wi-Fi's for, right?
I know. It feels artificial. If it's artificial, I just can't. It's like acting. Like I remember there were forms of acting where I was like, this feels artificial. I can't lie. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. And if it feels inauthentic, right? I'm just not going to do it because that's gross. People can smell that. Why would I do that to people? Yeah.
People can smell that.
Yeah.
And other things, true.
Right?
Okay, one question for me. I'm curious about how did becoming a mom change the way you approach your work?
Man. It changed everything.
Yeah. And
I knew it would. I always knew I would have one kid and it would be late. Like I would have a career first. And then I had my kid late. Really late. I always joke, I have kids like Indiana Jones goes through the doorway, right before the cutoff. And you're gonna get me here, Alicyn.
It's okay to cry.
Making cookies and just being there, whether it's multiplication table drills where I somehow become Commander Shepard to my poor son in a battle, or just listening is the most important thing in the world. Like my career used to be the most important thing in my world. And then my sort of spiritual growth became the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it's this relationship and who am I going to show up as? Because the thing that they don't tell you as a parent is that the whole time there's a clock running and it's a countdown clock and you're going to hit that number and it's not your turn anymore. And you hit the clock doesn't go straight. It counts and counts and counts and then it leaps and you're like, wait, no, I had that pocket. And my kid's like, no, I'm good. I'm going to school all by myself now. And I'm like, And you go, yes, you are, because you got this. And then you go, oh my God, he doesn't hear me anymore. You know, you're like, I miss it so much. You know, it's 1,000 little it's 1,000 little losses. It's 1,000 little things that go. And that's what matters most. I don't care if I miss some auditions because I was upstairs making cookies for my kid, because I'll never get to do that again. You know?
Yeah.
And also the other thing is that, you know, I don't know, but you know, I think all parents do this. Like, we want our kids to be their best, and you can't ask them to do what you're not doing, you know? Yeah. Which also means you teach them how to handle mistakes. Like, oh, look, I'm making a big mistake right now. Watch. Ah! You know, so, this is how you do it. And this is how you clean it up. You know?
Oh, God, yeah. It's so apropos that we are having this conversation this week. My son just started kindergarten.
Oh,
and
I'm sorry. Oh.
I have just been so many tears. And I was like, met with this shaman, and she was like, your energy is very Western facing. And, you know, coming to terms with, you know, I had a baby, and it was like just mortality, this deep realization that, oh my God, it's all temporal, and like, we are not here forever. And it's just those little moments in the fall where you're like, oh my God, he's starting at a new school, and he's a big boy now.
Yeah, it teaches us such deep lessons about love without attachment. And that is a hard road to navigate, man. Like, my kid last night had a melt about nothing, but it was a deep melt. And I was like, you making up stuff, and you torturing yourself over something that is not going to happen, may never happen. And you're torturing yourself right now, you know? And I was like, I don't want to invalidate your feelings. And there's also perspective. And then at one point he's like, you know what? I need space. And I was like, whew. And he walked himself through it. And I'm like, of course you did. Because you're awesome. You know, and it's a thing, man. But they're, and just that fine line of being there with them as they make their mistakes. Like, you know, like, it's not always good to prevent them making their mistakes. Like, let them make them while they're still juveniles. It doesn't go on their permanent record. Like, go make your mistakes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah. It's definitely a road. And, you know, but the thing about this life, like, everyone on this live and everyone watching it later, you're gonna die. We're all dying.
We're all gonna die.
You know, the thing is, if the ride went on forever, you wouldn't value the ride. You know?
Yeah.
And we're not.
There's so many hills we're meant to take.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Oh my God, we have lots to talk about, you and I.
So much.
Yeah.
Mother. Yep. Boy, mother. Well, I one final question I want to leave the audience with just a question I like to ask everybody, unless I forget, which is, if there was a song in your heart, what would that song be called?
It's a song of mine that I'm writing right now. I'll sing for you for a second. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be just fine. Everything's gonna be all right. Just hang on and you'll see. Just hang on with me. That's my song.
Aww. How perfect, and a perfect way to end. Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. It's been just lovely chatting with you and getting to know you a bit better.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it. Everybody check out Skills Hub. I think you'll find a lot of value in it. And yeah, let us know if we can ever help you spread the word or share any details.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
If
Oh my
anybody's
God.
still up to hang, I'm going to go on TikTok and do some music over there. If anybody in about 15 minutes, if you want to come, and Jennifer, obviously, you're welcome to come and play some songs. Of course, I'm sure you probably have
I'll be parenting.
parenting
I
to
would
do.
love to.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
Oh
course.
my God, this has been wonderful, Alicyn. Your company is fantastic, and I've really
Oh,
enjoyed it. I hope
well,
to do
I
it
look
again.
forward to the next time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
See you guys soon. See you next. Oh,
Bye.
next week we have Ezra Weiss, voice actor and animation director. He directs Miraculous Ladybug as well as a ton of other projects. So I hope you guys will join in for that because it's going to be a completely different show every week. All right, Jennifer, take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.